You're gonna serve somebody in a booth or on the street. You're gonna serve somebody. Every vote, every voice, every tweet might be the Lord, the dollar, or the folks who can't speak loud. You're gonna serve somebody. So say who you're serving now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Serve Somebody with Steve and Emily podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Steve Bradshaw. And as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Emily Hallavy. Emily, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Steve.
Good. Tell us what's on your mind.
Space, man.
Okay.
All right, so we're recording this episode on Good Friday, 2 days after the Artemis II launch. And my house has been talking about this launch for months. We've been tracking it. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out that we could get down to Florida to see it. But my 13-year-old son, Finn, is just, he literally has the NASA channel on all day long. He's got YouTube on, watching everything, going back, rewatching stuff that he missed, interviews with the astronauts. He is fascinated by it, and he's always, since he was like 7 years old, wanted to be an aerospace engineer.
Wow.
And wanted to work on the space program. And this has really notched it up to the point where yesterday he came home and he said, "Mom, I've made a decision and I want to join the Navy and become a pilot in the Navy."
Oh, wow. That's big.
It's big. And so he was watching Reed Weissman, who's the commander on Artemis II, who was a Navy pilot. And he got so much inspiration from watching this guy's trajectory and seeing him command the space shuttle, that now that's what he wants to do. He actually wants to join the Navy and then become an astronaut. And,
wow.
And he's got the mind to do it. He loves science. He loves math. He understands these concepts that are way out there that are too big for me to understand. And of course, as a mom, with a family history of military service, I'm so proud of him. And given our current political climate and global conflicts, it's also terrifying for me.
Absolutely.
But in thinking about it, the space program has been basically on hiatus for quite some time. And as a kid growing up, the Challenger was super important to me. And I was in first grade or second grade when the Challenger exploded, living in Florida. So we were all outside, and then our teachers ushered us in. We had a day of mourning around it. And so to see this enthusiasm with young kids again over the space program is something that I think we've been missing. And it really adds that component of a desire to dream.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've been fascinated with space since I was a kid. I've always thought it would be cool to go to the moon. Your son might enjoy the series on HBO that ran 25 years ago, From the Earth to the Moon. And it was a 10-part series that Tom Hanks narrated and produced, and it really takes a deep dive into the Apollo program.
Right.
So that was well done. And also, a lot of the original astronauts were test pilots.
Yeah.
The Mercury astronauts, the Gemini astronauts were all test pilots. And I think something like that gives us inspiration. When President Kennedy said we choose to go to the moon back in 1961, we didn't know how we were going to get there. Before the end of the decade, he set a deadline. And that put in motion all the science and all the brain power that went into getting us from the Earth to the moon. So I watched the launch the other day as well. It was fabulous. I loved it. And hopefully that ushers in a new era of space exploration, manned space exploration.
Yeah, well, and we just had Kwame Johnson on talking about kind of this crisis with our youth and boys in particular. And I think this really is a key component in giving kids something to be curious about, something bigger than the doom and gloom that's going on right here on Earth. So
understood. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Very, very, very lively and inspirational. So before we get into it today, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Al Davis and all the wonderful folks at Davis Manufacturing for sponsoring today's program. We really appreciate it. So today, we are honored to have as our special guest United States Congressman Hank Johnson who represents Georgia's 4th Congressional District. Thank you so much, Congressman, for being here today. As we begin, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, gosh, thank you all for having me. It's wonderful to
Absolutely.
be with you today.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to jump into that discussion about the Artemis II. You know, as we approached liftoff, I started praying. I started chanting for success and for safety and for the survival of the astronauts going up, because I immediately went to the Challenger episode. I remember I was at the DeKalb County Courthouse doing something related to my law practice when the Challenger exploded. And something that's etched in my mind is one of the astronauts' fathers. He and his wife were watching and cameras were on them, and they just kind of, as the Challenger exploded, you know, they kind of just looked away, you know, confused about what was happening, because you had parts scattering across the sky. And it was just a moment for the nation to grieve together at such a tragedy. But nonetheless, we picked ourselves up and got back into it, and continued to attack the mission of getting into space. And now with this Artemis II, doing a trip to the moon, going past it and circling around, I should say ovaling around and flying back, taking astronauts further into space than ever before.
Yep.
It was just a wonderful thing to behold. But then we return back to Earth and we see folks trying to conquer each other.
Right.
We see Trump and Netanyahu invading a sovereign nation, one, because of fear of what that nation might do, and perhaps some vindictiveness about what that nation had done to them and had been responsible for. And then the other perpetrator, Donald Trump, concerned about oil and domination of another nation, and its and conquering it and extracting and taking its natural resources, like he has done in Venezuela.
Yes, sir.
And so when man, who is going to the moon and beyond, takes this current life condition of war, militarism, racism, and conquering, takes that beyond our globe and into outer space, we can see just how far we have gone, but we can understand what we need to do as human beings in order to survive.
Yes, sir.
And for our planet and for humanity, human beings, to survive, because nuclear weapons now and biological and chemical weapons, if those are unleashed, we can wipe out humanity. And so there would be no space program. So the stakes are high, and it's the American people who get a chance to make the decisions about who's going to lead the most powerful nation in this world. And we made the wrong decision, and we're paying for it now. But I have abundant confidence that we're going to correct what was the mistake, and we'll get back on track, and we will continue to lead the world towards a better place, freedom for people, freedom. That's what makes our Constitution so magnificent, is because it has those ideals of freedom and prosperity for all people.
Yes, sir. Well, we look forward to getting into all of that with you as we move forward. So just by way of introduction, Congressman Hank Johnson has represented Georgia's 4th District for nearly 20 years. And during that amazing tenure, he has always fought for the right things for the right reasons. Consequently, he has earned the esteem of his colleagues in Washington, D.C., and the respect and gratitude of his constituents here at home, which I am proud to proclaim myself as one. Prior to his service in Congress, Hank Johnson served as an associate judge of the DeKalb Magistrate Court from 1989 to 2001, and from 2001 to 2006 served on the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. Now, my tenure on the County Commissioner started in 2017, long after the Congressman had departed that post, so we didn't have the chance to serve together, but I have had the great honor of serving for my entire 8-year tenure in office with Congressman Johnson's wife, Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson, who was a wonderful colleague. And Congressman, you can tell her that on my behalf if you want to. Devotion to service has been a hallmark of Congressman Johnson's career. And once again, we are so honored to have him with us today. So to get into our questions, let's start with this, and you alluded to it. As we're recording today on this Good Friday, the United States of America is at war with the Islamic Republic of Iran. So please continue to share your thoughts about that current situation.
Well, it's the most mindless exercise of this Trump administration that we have experienced thus far. Some people say it was a stupid move. I'll call it mindless. To go in and attack a nation that was not an imminent threat to you or to anyone else. And it was, and given the logistics of the situation, the fact that you have much of the world's oil transiting through the Strait of Hormuz, which is easily disrupted by the border state of Iran. What do you expect that they're going to do if they are attacked? They're going to choke the life out of the world economy, the global economy. And that's what's happening right now. Things are slowing down. Things have been slowing down in our economy, in our national economy. But now you've got a world that has been thrust, a global economy that has now been thrust into a bad situation. Mm-hmm. And so as a result, life is becoming less affordable. It's becoming more costly. It's costing people this war. Groceries are going up. Energy bills are going up for your heating and air. The cost of housing is going up. Child care, everything continues to go up exponentially because of this war. It was already going up because of Donald Trump's mindless, some people say stupid, tariff policies. It's really, this guy is operating as if he has no mind, and the people around him are supporting him. He has nobody to say, President Trump, this is stupid. He has nobody to say, President Trump, this is mindless. He has nobody to say, President Trump, maybe we should not do this, maybe we should consider doing that. Instead, he's got a bunch of sycophants who are following his every directive, and if they don't follow it, they are afraid of what he will do to them. Mm-hmm. And so they just follow along. And that is not just limited to to the people who work in the executive branch of government around him. It's the independent co-equal branch called the legislative branch, which happens to be Article 1 of our Constitution. It's a reason why the executive branch, the presidency, is covered under Article 2 of the Constitution, and the legislative branch and its powers are enumerated under Article 1 of the Constitution. And then you have the judicial branch. Article 3 is not to rank them in terms of importance because they are all co-equal. They operate as a check and a balance on each other. Mm-hmm. But the legislative branch is not supposed to bow down and do whatever the executive branch wants them to do, and neither should the judicial branch. But yet, that's what we see happening at the U.S. Supreme Court level, and that's what we see happening throughout our legislative branch, which is controlled by the mega Republican party at this time. Mm-hmm. Everybody's afraid to buck on the executive, knowing that his policies are mindless,
right,
and are causing harm. I just really don't understand, but November gives us an opportunity to correct course.
Absolutely. So regarding the war in Iran, sir, should President Trump has sought congressional approval before taking this action?
Well, no doubt that it was a declaration of war, and Article 1 grants the power to declare war to the legislative branch. And so on the morning of this onslaught, Trump came out and said that, hey, you know, this is an opportunity for you, the Iranian people, to take it to the streets and change your governance. This is probably your last opportunity to do that. And so regime change is what he was talking about. And if regime change, as your rationale for going into war, is not a declaration of war, then I don't know what is. So that was a declaration of war. It was done without congressional authorization, so that makes it illegal under our Constitution, under domestic law. And then the United States signed a treaty establishing the United Nations, and one of the tenets of the treaty that was signed by this nation was a vow not to attack other nations arbitrarily without cause. And so this is what the U.S. did, and so it's illegal also under international law. And so Trump is wrong, he's wrong, and he's mindless.
We keep coming back to that one. So, sir, to continue, not to belabor, but as you know, the authorization for use of military force became law back in 2001 under President George W. Bush. And every president since then, including President Obama and President Biden, have interpreted that law to give the president pretty wide latitude in terms of deploying military forces. So my question is, do you believe the current AUMF should be repealed and replaced?
Well, yeah, there is no authorization for use of military force by this president in this war. So the AUMF would require that if the commander-in-chief saw fit to deploy the U.S. military into a conflict, that he or she, the president, would have certain obligations to report to Congress on that deployment. And so that is something separate and apart from the constitutional requirement that in a declaration of war, it's Congress that declares war, not the president. So the president had violated the Constitution, and as we come up to the 60-day continuation of this war, then you have AUMF provisions coming into place that require Trump to report to Congress. And so that also assumes Congress has the power or uses its power to resource the conflict moving forward. That's what the AUMF was put into place to do, isn't it? I mean, the president, as commander-in-chief, doesn't have to come to Congress every time he or she would deploy military assets for some particular conflict. But if they do, deploy, short of going to war, but in a conflict, then you have to report to Congress periodically. And so we'll see as we move forward. But it does look like this is going to advance beyond the 60-day period. If Trump talked about 4 to 6 weeks having everything cleaned up, wrapped up, and everybody back to normal. But now he's saying could be another 3 or 4 weeks after the 6 to 8 weeks. And so, we're getting deeper and deeper into the quagmire. It's like quicksand. When you attack Iran, it's like, you're sinking into quicksand. And we've been through this before. You attack Iraq, and you attacked Afghanistan, you went into Vietnam, just getting stuck in quagmires. And this guy promised the American people that he was not going to put us into stupid, he used the term, stupid wars.
Right.
Well, so we've got this term taco, right? Trump always chickens out.
Yeah.
And so part of me thinks that he might taco his way out of this, although I think the repercussions of that might also be dangerous. How would you like to see this conflict resolved?
I would like to see an immediate halt to the bombing and a withdrawal of United States forces from that war. And then negotiations commence with the Iranian government to kind of get the relationship back restarted in a peaceful way. The bombing, now we're bombing civilian infrastructure, bridges, trying to affect the economic, the economy of Iran. We're trying to impose pain on civilians. We're no longer limiting to military, even though the first day of the conflict, we sent in missiles that destroyed a girls' school with 175 fatalities of girls and their women teachers. And that wasn't the only school that was attacked in the early days of this conflict. So now U.S. owes the people of Iran, and it owes them. And so, that's going to have to be a part of the negotiations. But, you went in, you broke it, and you need to come out and you need to start fixing it. And with diplomacy and with foreign assistance, that's how this nation creates allies, flips enemies into allies. And I don't care how obstinate their government has been. I don't care how draconian that Iranian government has been. Those are still people, and we can heart-to-heart communications can be aspired for. We need to be always working towards peace and bringing out the humanity that lies within all people. We need to be about tapping into that as people and trying to create a more peaceful existence. If we don't do that, then we're doing mindless activity like we're doing right now, and it just does not work.
It certainly doesn't draw people into the fan club of America.
No, it certainly does not.
In fact, I think if our goal was to attack, Iran for the fact that they're one of the largest state sponsors of terrorist organizations across the globe, I think we're probably exacerbating that at this point. But moving on, closer to home, obviously we've been having a partial government shutdown, and this fight over DHS funding, which has created chaos at airports, although that seems to maybe be resolved, maybe not through the best way possible, but from your perspective, what is happening right now with DHS?
Well, it looks like they're there has been, it looks like Trump has allowed Speaker Johnson to let the public know that we're going to resolve this when we return to Washington, D.C. after this 2-week recess, during which time Trump, who could have done this 40 days ago, announced that he's going to shift some money around within the DHS budget and pay the TSA workers who've gone without pay for the last 4 weeks. And so that has now happened. They have received their first check. And I would assume that everybody is now back to work. I haven't been to the airport lately, but I haven't seen any reports of 4-hour lines. I think things are getting better. And he could have done that, even though it would have been illegal, in my humble opinion, for him to do that, because Congress mandated monies be spent for particular purposes within the DHS budget. And so now you have a president coming around and saying, I don't care what Congress allocated money for, I'm going to shift it from that use to a use that I want to put it into. So, but I'm not arguing with him for doing that under these circumstances. It's just another overreach of executive authority, but boom, go ahead and do that right now. We'll clarify that as we move forward. So when we get back, we will vote on a bill that will fund all of DHS with the exception of ICE and Customs and Border Protection, which is what Democrats have been demanding and fighting for throughout this partial government shutdown. Now they have caved.
Okay.
So it's another example of taco.
Yeah.
And they have caved. And so Democrats are not going to stand for funding ICE and CFPB, both of which ICE got $70 billion out of the big ugly bill.
Yeah.
And Customs and Border Protection got $60 billion. This is over and above their normal appropriations in the annual appropriations bill. Both of those agencies receive around $10 billion a year. And so given $60 billion and $70 billion in addition to that, these agencies are both flush with cash.
Yeah.
And they have been using that cash to hire people who are not qualified, who are ill-trained and ill-equipped mentally, to be guardians of liberty. They have been attacking the liberty of the people of this country, those in the country, both legally and those who are undocumented. They've been attacking. 2 Americans have already been killed, and so Democrats are not going to give that agency, either one of those agencies, another penny in funding until they agree to make certain fundamental reforms.
Am I right in understanding Coast Guard is also funded under DHS?
Yes, that's correct.
And so during
And
all
FEMA.
this, and FEMA, and so those agencies also are not being paid.
Well, no, those agencies have been being paid. The only people that weren't paid were TSA.
Oh. Why did we have that cut out?
Well, I can't answer that question, but I'm glad that it was only the TSA folks who were suffering, and they, as federal employees, have Democrats have had to fight for years to bring them up to parity with other federal employees, and so it is. I don't know why TSA, which serves such an important role in protecting the safety of Americans, of our flying public, why they would try to make them second-class and third-class citizens. I don't know why Republicans have traditionally and historically done that, but We have fought to bring them up to parity with other federal workers, and we were successful. But still, the remnants of the past remain in terms of how they treat these TSA employees. So, shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's inexplicable to me that the federal government ever shuts down. The richest country in the world, the biggest government. I'm going to posit a question, and it might strike you as a little controversial, but I'm going to ask it anyway, which is this. There's a circumstance where any part of the federal government is shut down and any federal worker anywhere ceases to get paid. Should members of Congress continue to get paid during that time period?
Should we?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, gosh. From my personal opinion, I mean, you got most members of Congress are millionaires. And so it really doesn't matter to them whether or not they get a check or not. But for folks like me, it matters.
Yes, sir.
And so I don't want to cut my throat because my colleagues, particularly my MAGA colleagues, are trying to cut all of our throats. And it just doesn't make sense to me, given my personal situation and my desire to see more people who are not millionaires be able to serve in Congress. I mean, we should not have a Congress that is only populated by millionaires and billionaires. Needs to be regular people, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith, having an opportunity to go to Congress and not, I mean, you know, you can punish the members of the legislative branch for the government shutdown, and punishment is perhaps appropriate. But as far as me supporting it, given my situation and my aspirations for others, no, I'm not going to go down that road and give you an easy answer.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I posed that question on purpose for that reason, because you know it's legitimate. So in that vein, I'm curious as your answer to the following question: would you describe the Congress of the United States as broken? If you think it's broken, why? Tell me why. Why do you think it's broken?
Yeah, I think that we need to have an up and down review of all of the processes of Congress, some of the archaic rules of Congress that perhaps are not well suited for today's reality. Rules that were created, you know, centuries ago that keep Congress from being able to move quickly. That stifle, you know, the ability to respond to current realities. So I think we should have, I mean, for instance, it's embedded into law that Congress must declare a recess during the month of August. And so Congress is out of session the entire month of August. Well, you know, I mean, you've got your the end of the fiscal year coming up on September the 30th.
Right.
And so you give yourself, you know, after that month of recess, a month to try to you know, meet your appropriations deadlines. And so that doesn't make sense. For committees, and I know we have a lot of people on committees, but for every member to get 5 minutes to question a witness on a very important subject, you know, I mean, is 5 minutes enough? Should we have subcommittees that operate more effectively? The whole committee process and all, you know, all of the rules need to be reviewed. The filibuster in the Senate. Now, we, you know, I think mankind. Well, I won't go that far. I think, I think the people of America, when it comes to passing legislation like the like the Save America Act, which would require draconian offerings before a person could get registered to vote. In other words, how many people have passports? Really only, I think 40% of the members of Congress, believe it or not, have passports.
Wow, interesting.
And even fewer of them, I would propose, could put their hands on a certified copy of their birth certificate. And so if members of Congress are in that dilemma, average people are certainly probably more affected by certain draconian rules, like having to produce a certified copy of your birth certificate or a passport in order to register to vote. There's no need for that. And so something like the filibuster is preventing, thus far, that kind of legislation, which has already passed the House of Representatives, from passing the Senate. But nonetheless, on the flip side of the coin, when you have other legislation that should advance but is getting stalled because of the filibuster, you got to look at the filibuster and see whether or not it's something that in a modern democracy should be allowed to happen. So when you look at the filibuster, you also have to look at the current setup where every state in the nation gets 2 senators regardless of population. So that means Wyoming, with a population of 650,000, gets 2 senators, the same as California with 40 million people. And so can you tell me the equity involved in having 645,000 people represented by 2 U.S. senators, and the same for California, and their dollars are helping Wyoming to stay afloat? They're contributing more money to the federal system than the folks in Wyoming, but yet Wyoming has, and so you got 2 MAGA senators, along with a bunch of others from similarly less populated states. So is this formula, which was put in place, senators, by the way, used to be selected by
State legislatures.
That's right. And so we've changed the Constitution before to make democracy more viable for all of the people, and we need to start looking at how we can strengthen our democracy moving forward for the next 250 years.
And on that note, what's your take on partisan gerrymandering?
Well, my take is that it's always going to be somebody who's splitting up the pie, and it can either be elected officials or it can be unelected officials. The elected officials are more accountable to the people because they have to stand for election than the unelected folks who would draw the lines. So it's kind of a dilemma. The use of partisan gerrymandering right now is being used to distort the will of the people. It's being used to enable politicians to select their voters as opposed to voters being able to elect their politicians. So I think the best way to go about it is to put in place a set of rules that must be followed whenever you're doing redistricting. First of all, it should happen only after the tenure decennial process, where you have census that comes out with the new numbers in terms of who's living where, how many people are where. And so that redistricting process should take place after reapportionment every 10 years after the sentence, after the
census.
After the census, and then you must certain guidelines that are in case law that regulate whether or not the redistricting meets constitutional muster, such as making sure that you preserve communities of interest. Mm-hmm. And there are other guidelines. Those guidelines need to be put into legislation and become a part of the law, not just case law for judges to change, but embedded in the law that guide legislatures in their redistricting efforts. And so either way it goes, whether or not you have a so-called independent bipartisan commission or whether or not legislators do it, it's going to be political, because mm-hmm. the politicians are the ones that choose the nonpartisan people on the board.
Right.
And so when you don't have the accountability of those people on the board, they can exercise whatever their political affiliations are with impunity.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yes.
And it does feel like, between stacking the courts, the filibuster, redistricting, these are all ideas that sound great when you're in power, but then when you're not in power, it's like, oh, well, this is not working for us anymore. And so the accountability aspect is really important. So now I want to turn to Israel. And I just want to get your sense, irrespective of Netanyahu, what is your opinion on the state of Israel?
Well, Israel is a state that has a right to exist, and it will continue to exist. The current leadership of the state of Israel are warmongers and war criminals. And so I do not support the current government of Israel led by Benjamin Netanyahu, who just cannot get war out of his, that's just the way that he thinks. And he doesn't see peace as a viable option. We need people in leadership positions across the globe who think exactly opposite from Benjamin Netanyahu. And so he's misleading the government, but that is the government that the people have elected. But like America, all of the people of Israel are not engaged in the political process. And, they have just as much apathy among their electorate as we have here in this country. And so there's nobody that can point to Israel and say that that is, that's the current government is a reflection of the people who elected them. But that's not who the people of Israel necessarily are. And same way that Trump getting elected in this country does not reflect who the American people are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where I stand in terms of the government of Israel.
I'm relieved to hear that, and I think that's a point that's being missed. We're seeing this big shift in authoritarianism across the globe, but somehow Israel always kind of takes the brunt of the blame for their leadership and their actions, but they're not unique in any space. I mean, you look at countries, Hungary, the United States, even in South America, where there are countries that are electing authoritarian leadership. Like, Israel's not unique in that space, but they've been getting blamed for a lot of,
Well, it covers for the rampant anti-Semitism that is emerging.
Yeah.
That is being that people feel free to exhibit now, while at the same time, kind of, well, it's ironic that the MAGA group
Yeah.
that is responsible for unleashing anti-Semitism as being okay is the same group of folks who are aligned with the current government of Netanyahu. It's a transactional situation, it's really shameful. But let's admit to ourselves that as it stands right now, today, the Jewish people are in the bullseye of hatred, of terrorism. They are the people who are on the hot seat, and when those forces that have anti-Semitism burning inside of them get finished with the Jewish people, then who is next?
That's right. That's right.
And we know who that's going to be. It's going to be the black folks
That's
who
right.
the Jewish people came to the assistance of when we were fighting for our civil rights back in the 50s and 60s
Yeah.
and 70s.
Yeah, the NAACP was founded in part by Jewish people.
Yeah. So there is there should be, there is, and there should be more of a strong relationship between Jewish people and black people.
Yeah.
There has always been that joint. We've been in the same boat in terms of discrimination, racism, hatred, evil. We've been in the same boat, and we're still in the same boat.
Yeah. So, do you think that we should continue funding Israel?
No, I don't. I think we need to start sending a message to Israel that no more blank checks.
Yeah.
No more blank checks. That you must adhere to certain values before we will give you money for military assistance.
Yeah, I think we need the leadership in our own country to see that through. But I'm curious too, what is your current relationship with your Jewish constituents?
I think it's pretty good. J Street is an organization that is very prominent among Jewish people, and I've always worked closely with the people of J Street, and I've also maintained decent relationships with members of AIPAC, although I don't get any, want to make it clear that I don't get money from AIPAC, and don't look to be a recipient of money from AIPAC. But I've got harmonious relationships with people who are deeply involved in AIPAC. And that's because I want to make the same thing I said about diplomacy with the leadership of a nation like Iran. I have to have those same relationships, and I'm not comparing any relationships, but I'm just saying it's the principle.
Yeah.
If you have dialogue and you respect people for being people, you don't limit that by geographic boundaries or by affiliations with various groupings. So I'll talk and try to establish relationships and try to maintain harmonious relationships with everyone.
That's great. Well, and we'll kind of get into money and politics in a little bit, but it would be great if we could start removing some of that money from politics.
I think you're exactly right on that. Should not be special interest groups with special interests taking prominence over the common good.
Yeah.
We need to be about the common good as opposed to special interests.
Yeah.
And special interests, being able to flood campaigns with money, is a detriment to the ability of the people's representatives to represent them and to promote the common good and the general welfare.
So I'm going to take you back in time a little bit, if that's all right, to when you first ran for Congress way back in 2006. You challenged a sitting incumbent. So I'm curious, and for the sake of our audience, what led you to do that, and how were you able to be successful in that race? Because we all know running against incumbent is hard. So how were you able to do that?
Well, believe it or not, when my cousin Archibald Hill, an attorney, criminal defense lawyer out in Oklahoma, who was my mentor in life, when he ran for a seat in the Oklahoma legislature and won, he became a Oklahoma state representative back in 1964.
Wow.
Is when I decided, as a 10-year-old kid, having already decided that I wanted to be a lawyer like him, decided I wanted to be a legislator like him. And growing up in Washington, D.C., the only legislature that I knew was the U.S. Capitol and Congress. And so it was implanted in my mind back then that was where I would end up. And so fast forward, 40 years, and boom, I just decided that it was time for me to mark that off of my bucket list. I was a DeKalb County commissioner, a lawyer, and I was getting older in years, and just decided that if I'm going to become a U.S. congressman, I need to give it a shot right now. And that just happened to have been at a time when Cynthia McKinney was in office. I always had voted for her, by the way. I admired her courage. But I also felt that we could have a little bit more, that I would bring a more of a local focus to the job. And so my campaign mantra was taking care of home first. And I think that resonated with people. And they decided to switch horses and elect me to represent them. And I've appreciated the honor of serving the people of the 4th District, and I continue to thank the people for allowing me to serve. It's been the greatest honor of my life to be able to serve the people in the United States Congress.
Excellent. So back to a little politics. What are your thoughts on the role of lobbyists as it relates to interacting and interfacing with members of Congress?
Yeah, I think they are totally necessary.
Okay.
And I have an open door policy. Any lobbyist that wants to come talk to me, they're certainly welcome. I want to hear your views, and it's a part of the decision making that I go through in terms of what I'm for and what I'm against. So I welcome lobbyists. Lobbying is important.
And what about the interest groups that we were just talking about?
So now campaign money is a totally different thing now.
Okay.
And now lobbyists are represented by people who make campaign contributions. They represent interests, and they represent people who make campaign contributions. And so the entire campaign contribution process needs a thorough revamping. After the United States Supreme Court saw fit to scuttle the McCain-Feingold legislation that limited the role of dark money in campaigning, and the U.S. Supreme Court saw fit to rule that legislation as being unconstitutional because it says that corporations have a right to freedom of speech. And so that means they can spend unlimited amounts of money. So their speech can overcome my speech because they have more money than me, and corporations can have a perpetual duration, whereas people, we live and die. But a corporation can live on.
Yep.
But they have the same First Amendment right of speech that you and I as natural persons do. That's just wrong. And it set us on a course where we have so when you have dark money being put into campaigns, and that means that the representatives and the lobbyists who are putting their money in, they're not dark money, by the way, the lobbyists. They represent corporate PACs that have to report their expenditures, and they represent people who have to be reported in terms of contributions to your particular campaign or to your opponent. But when you have that dark money coming in, now you got to get more of the lobbyist money, or you have to have a vigorous outreach to small dollar donors, people giving you $10, $15 a month and trying to add all of that up to compete with all of the dark money and all of the lobbying money. It just, it's crazy that some Congress people have to spend half of their time, instead of talking to lobbyists about the merits of a particular piece of legislation. Instead of talking to them substantively, you got to be out courting them for money.
Right.
And it creates a situation where, hey, okay, I'm giving you money, what are you doing for me?
Right.
It makes that even more pronounced. And so this whole system is just really corrupt.
Yeah.
It's not the way that it's supposed to be. People should not have to raise $3 and $4 million in order to compete, in order to retain their seat, or in order to win their seat.
Yeah. I was telling Steve a while ago, a former college roommate of mine is now a county commissioner down in Miami-Dade. And her first campaign, she raised over $1 million.
Is that right?
And I'm like, county commission? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's so much money in politics right now that it's just out of control. It really is.
Yeah, it really should not be that way. And that's why you have so many people who are in Congress who can self-fund, or who have the contacts at the country club. It's the Epstein set of people, and below them, maybe not those with the corporate jets and the 15 homes across the country, but maybe they have 2 or 3 homes and they fly charter.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
But this money in politics is bad. We got to find a way of getting it out so that regular people can have a chance to run and to win and to remain in office.
Yeah. So with your 20 years of service, what have been your biggest accomplishments?
Well, I think supporting the Affordable Care Act ranks right up there at the top. I think the CARES Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, legislation passed during Joe Biden's administration, the American Rescue Plan, all of those things had major impacts on the lives of the people of this country. And I'm most proud of my work to address Supreme Court reform. I'm also proud of my work to promote more transit spending, so that we can try to get people out of cars and into transit, into public transportation. And so investing in public transportation, I've been a strong proponent of that. There's my work to reform the civil justice system by passing legislation that prohibits or actually that renders unenforceable arbitration clauses in consumer and employment agreements. We've gotten that legislation to the House floor twice and passed, but we of course need to get it done in the Senate. And but there have been a number of spin-off bills that have passed that were based on my original legislation. So I'm proud of being the proponent of the original legislation and then other legislation passing, which kind of chips away at the problem. So those 20 years have seen a evolution in terms of legislation that I have advanced, and I recognize how long it takes, how much effort it takes, and I've seen some success, but look forward to seeing more.
Any disappointments?
No, I really don't have anything that I'm disappointed about. I think probably including the public option in the Affordable Care Act legislation was probably the biggest miss that I regret. I don't have any personal regrets. I do have that regret that we could have done, we could have made the Affordable Care Act stronger and gotten even more people into the healthcare delivery system had we passed that public option. We really need to go back and do it now.
I mean, I've
100%.
shared this with a lot of our guests, but my family is currently uninsured. I work for a small business. We don't have employer coverage, and what was affordable under the Affordable Care Act is now no longer affordable. $2,000 a month for the premium, and then the deductible is another $28,000. So,
yeah, it's really shameful that we would be spending between $1 and $2 billion per day for this war in Iran, when we could have used that same money to support an extension of the tax credits that made the Affordable Care Act premiums more affordable for people like you and your family who own a small business.
Yep. Yeah, it's really tough.
So, curiosity question, behind the scenes, what are your Republican colleagues like? I mean, do you have personal relationships with folks on the other side of the aisle? We're very curious about that.
Yeah, I'm the type of guy, I'm not sitting around at a bar somewhere smoking a cigar with, with a bunch of Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
I mean, I'm just not like that. I made a vow when I went to Congress that I was going to go to work and I was going to come home, fix dinner, go to bed, get ready for the next day.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much done that.
Okay.
So I'm not one of the social animals who's at all of the receptions. By the way, I think I'm still at the same weight.
Is that true? You think so,
that I was when I went into Congress.
Oh, no, that's impressive.
That is impressive.
And I made a decision I wasn't going to eat at the reception. And one way to not eat at the receptions is to
Not go to the receptions.
You know, so I'm not the most social. I'm not the most social
Right.
guy up there. And so when it comes to having intimate, quiet conversations in the corner or raucous shouting exercises at the bar or something like that with all of the male, you won't
Understood.
find me in those settings. And so therefore having deep conversations with Republicans, that's just not part of my bailiwick.
So
Understood.
you're not going to
But-
tell us that you
but
and
I-
Marjorie Taylor Greene were buddies?
Well, you know what though? When Marjorie Taylor Greene was at the well of the House waiting in line to sign the discharge petition on the Epstein legislation, she was right in front of me, and she had come out. She had come out and talked about the need to extend the Obamacare tax credit so that her son and daughter would be able to afford health care. She had come out in favor of releasing the Epstein files. She had talked about wars and putting us into quagmires, attacking other countries. And she was standing right in front of me, and when she finished signing, she turned around, and I looked in her eye, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? I really appreciate and respect you for the stances that you have taken, and I'm going to miss you in Congress." And we were just looking at each other as I said those things, and she was very humane in her acceptance of what I said, and it's just a real human interaction.
Yeah.
I had not had the other interaction that I had with her was a couple of years ago, and we were at the airport, and I turned around to talk to somebody, and I happened to bump into her. And I'd never been that close to her, never had any conversations with her, but when I bumped into her, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, don't body slam me." And she kind of laughed a little bit. That was a nice, brief moment of humor between two human beings. I got a nice feeling for her out of that, and she continued to be a election denier and continued behavior and
now
beliefs that I did not agree with after that. But then, boom, we come up to that moment on the House floor where things had changed.
Yeah.
And so, so going back to your question, I do talk with some Republicans. I mean, every so often.
Right.
A gentleman, Doug LaMalfa, who died about 5 days later, saw him in the bathroom, and he asked me, how are people doing in your district? I thought it was such a humane thing to ask.
Yeah.
How are your
Very good.
people doing? Because they know what I stand for. I know
Right.
what they stand for. And so there's so many little small things that are said among legislators. Those moments
Yeah.
are many, and I see the humanity of my. We can be supportive of each other in those private moments, and then we get back onto the floor of the House or in a committee meeting, and we are back in our respective corners, advancing our political interests.
Yep. Well, if you've
But
got
they're all people, and
Yeah.
I respect everyone, and I genuinely like my colleagues.
good.
Yeah.
You'd
Well,
be
that's-
surprised. You'd be surprised at.
Yeah. Well, now that's a good segue. By the way, if you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene's cell phone number, we'd love to have her sitting where you are right now at some point. So,
Unfortunately, I have no way to contact her.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a good segue there. I want to get some quick takes on a couple other people that you've served with, starting with the current speaker, Mike Johnson. And by the way, are y'all related any
Well, you
way?
know, we could be.
Y'all could be, okay.
Like
Yeah,
Jasmine
I mean-
Crockett and Davy Crockett.
So what's your take on Speaker Johnson? A quick take.
Very, very weak speaker. Nice guy, but very weak. He's doing our democracy an injustice by laying down and letting Trump and MAGA roll all over him.
Understood.
What about Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries?
Brilliant. Look forward to him leading the House of Representatives.
All right, Speaker Emeritus Nancy Pelosi.
A tremendous leader, strong courage, steel backbone, deepest respect for her.
Yeah.
Great leader.
How about AOC?
Wonderful lady. When I first, during her first term, yeah, she's in it for the right reasons. She's a very decent human being, and I look forward to her. She has evolved. I look forward to her continued evolution, and great person.
Yeah. Well, and you already gave us your thoughts on MTG.
The great MTG.
The great MTG.
The notorious MTG.
I do, I've been hearing a lot about Democrats getting a lot of heat. They need to be doing more, other than just performative, like fist shaking. Is there anything that Democrats can be doing right now to keep MAGA at bay and keep some of this craziness in check?
Well, other than an armed insurrection, like the one that occurred on January 6th, I don't see what else Democrats can be doing. I mean, we don't have a majority, and it takes a majority in the House to do business. It takes 60 votes in the Senate in order to bring a matter to the floor of the Senate for a majority vote. So you need a supermajority in the Senate to do any business. We don't have that in the Senate, nor do we have a majority of the votes in the House, and so that means we're limited. We can speak out. We can try to hold folks accountable in the public domain, but in terms of controlling the House floor and actually pushing legislation that advances the cause of, affordability, protection of democracy, environmental protection, freedom, anti-war, limiting executive overreach. Those things require a majority, which we don't have, and so it's I guess reflexive for people to say, well, you could be doing more. Well, tell me what more can we be doing other than armed insurrection, which that's not what I'm going to do.
That's right. Or winning the midterms.
That's right. Now that's what we have to do, and that's going to depend on you all out there, the voters, and the non-voters getting out and becoming voters and voting for the folks who mean your interest the best, who support your values and who are going to be working for your benefit. We need you all to come out and vote. And once you do that and we retake the majority, then we're going to get some things done. But it takes, in order to pass legislation, the legislation has to pass the House and the Senate and withstand the prospects of a veto by the president, which would then require a 2/3 majority of each House and Senate in order to override the veto for the matter to become law. So, the hurdles are high, but you got to start from somewhere. And this is how freedom works. This is how democracy works. And can't lose hope. We can get it done. We've gotten it done in the past, and we can continue to do that. So I have abundant hope and optimism about America because I believe in the people of America.
Well, so 20 years in Congress. Are you going to stay another 20 years? What are your future political plans?
Well, I can guarantee that it won't be another 20 years. But I'm running for re-election this time, and look forward to the vote of the people. Hopefully they will allow me to serve another 2 years.
Excellent. Historically, Congressman, we're curious as to who your political heroes are.
I would say Nancy Pelosi, Lyndon Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Theodore Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. There's not one perfect human being among them. Shirley Chisholm, but they all advanced the cause of democracy and freedom, under which we enjoy the fruits of their efforts, and under which we are charged with continuing or building upon the legacies that they have left. Joe Biden, one of the most consequential presidents in the history of the country, though he's not given credit for it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter, tremendous, brave, and forward-thinking president. My cousin, Archibald Hill, who became the number 5 ranked Democrat in the state of Oklahoma.
That's a great
Excellent.
list.
Yeah, that is an outstanding list.
So we brought up your wife, Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson. Would you tell us a little bit more about your family?
Yeah, so we have, in December, we will have been married for 47 years.
Wow.
And that's been my greatest accomplishment, was to marry Marita, and we've established a family. We have 2 kids, and they're both doing well. And Marita is serving on the DeKalb County Commission, doing an excellent job. She's also a lawyer. We practiced law for 25 years before I went to Congress. We practiced law together for 25 years. I practiced for 27 years before I went to Congress. It's been a strong marriage, strong relationship. I'm very proud of our family and what we've been able to accomplish.
That's wonderful. Well, Steve and I, one of our favorite pastimes is movie watching. And so we like to ask our guests, what is your favorite movie?
Gosh, I don't have a favorite movie. Movie watching is something that I just don't do.
Huh.
And I don't, and so I'm culturally deprived when it comes to movies. I did see, I don't remember the name of the film. It came out last year. My wife dragged me to the theater to watch it. And they just watched it at home. Her and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and my other sister-in-law watched the movie the other day.
Sinners?
Sinners.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I haven't seen it yet, so what?
It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
all right.
Okay.
You know, by about 1 minute and 30, by about 1 hour and 30 minutes into a movie, I'm like,
You ready to hang it up? Okay.
yeah, I'm like, let's get to the end of this thing.
That's
And-
so funny.
Understood.
Well, I've recommended Sinners to Steve, but he's not that into horror movies. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but
He'd probably enjoy
you're-
that movie.
Well, that's what I
because it's
said.
not.
It's civil rights, it's history.
It's not classic.
That's right.
Yeah,
Some of your
but
movie
it's got a
recommend-
little. Yeah, it's
It's a little deeper
Yeah.
than just vampires.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about
much deeper than that.
Yeah.
Well, some of
But
your
it's
movie
entertaining, the vampire aspect of it. I mean, it's got that horror
Of course.
part of it and everything, yeah. But yeah, you would enjoy it.
You think so?
Yeah. Open
All
up
right.
your mind.
I'm trying.
All right.
I'm trying. That's what she's
Now-
here
Let
for.
Emily,
to
yeah,
help
let
open
Emily,
up my
I
mind.
have 2 votes for
I
it.
don't know. Some of your recommendations have been a little
Yeah,
sketchy, but
Steve
we'll
gives me a hard time
We'll,
over-
we'll move past that.
The Big Lebowski.
Okay, there it is. It's okay. It's grown on me. We won't belabor that.
Somebody just sent me a message the other day that I should watch Ben-Hur.
Oh,
Ben-Hur?
Going
Yeah,
back.
that I should
Wow,
go back
that's
and,
from like the
and watch that movie.
from the 50s. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a long time ago. Okay, I'm going to ask a corollary question. Not trying to get you in any trouble with Marita, but in that vein, do you have any celebrity crushes that you want to share?
God, celebrity crushes.
Uh-huh.
No comment. No, I mean, really, since I'm culturally deprived.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
fair,
just don't
and
have-
you
yeah.
you handle that very
That's very
smoothly.
fair.
So I like how you roll there. So you're in Congress, you're up in D.C., you're coming home. I mean, you've got a pretty busy, shall we say, life to lead in discharging your duties. How does Hank Johnson relax?
Playing a guitar.
Oh.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yep. So I love playing the guitar. I started about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm getting better.
I love that.
I just started taking lessons about 2 weeks ago, and I look forward to every lesson, and I look forward to becoming proficient enough to get out on stage and play.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I will look forward to that.
I see
Okay.
a second career in your future.
Well,
Or maybe
I don't,
third.
I don't know if I'd want to make it a career or not. It would be a third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to get out and play.
That's
Wow,
great.
that would be awesome.
So who's your favorite musician?
Well, I'll tell you who I like. I'll tell you what radio stations I like listening to. Really enjoy Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I listen a lot to Tom Petty's channel.
Okay.
And then I listen to classic rock. I listen to the blues channel. I listen to jazz.
Yeah.
And then I'll sometimes roll down to the rap stations and listen to rap music. And but I really like jazz. I really like R&B. I really like the blues. I like rock and roll.
That's great.
I like, and I'll even from time to time listen to some beautiful classic music that'll bring tears to your eyes in terms of the beauty that you're hearing, especially when somebody like I think it's Pavarotti is singing. So I love music.
Yeah.
And I look forward to becoming greater. I look forward to becoming proficient on the guitar, and then as I'm doing that, I also look forward to taking some time to deepen my skills as a drummer.
All right.
Interesting. All right, very good. I look forward to you performing on stage sometime.
Yeah.
We'll be there for that.
Well, what advice would you give to any young person coming up through the ranks wanting to become a politician?
Seize the moment. Wait for timing is very important. Don't give up on your dream, and timing is very important. Prepare yourself and walk the path that you choose to select. Don't let anybody select the path or the doorway for you. You select it yourself, and have courage to move forward on your own path, through your own door. And but also listen to people, particularly those who are closest to you, who love you, your family. Listen to them. Doesn't mean you have to do what they say, but listen to their opinions. And but don't be afraid to choose your own direction. But life does not come in a moment. It's a building process. So you have to have some patience also.
Yeah.
And some humanity and humility. But above all, if you're seeking to a career in politics, make it about, which is the theme of your show, service. Make it about service to your fellow human beings.
Outstanding. So as we kind of wind down, Congressman, are there any closing thoughts or ideas you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, things can be looking pretty bad today, and tomorrow is always. There's always a tomorrow. It may be dark outside right now, but the sun always comes out. It may be cold and in the bottom of winter, but spring never fails to come. So there's no need to lose hope. There's every reason to keep hope alive and to work during the tough times for the times that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. But even then, you'll have to keep working. So don't stop. Keep working for the betterment of yourself, your family, and for the good of mankind. There's nothing that is too big for you to not contribute to. Do your part. And that's all you can do. And then you can rest assured that you've done all that you could do. And let's stop hating on each other. Let's stop looking at what each other has and wanting to take from them. Let's go ahead and get what we want for ourselves and allow the people beside us to do what they do. Respect them, they'll respect you. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Live by the golden rule. There's so many things to tell people. I think everything I have said is positive. Dwell within the positive realm and not the negative realm. The glass is never half empty. It's always half full. And there's still some more to drink. And yeah, so keep it moving, have fun. Life is ups and downs. Gonna take the bitter with the sweet. You know, two sides of every coin. Don't get bent out of shape. Keep hope alive. I'm starting to repeat myself.
You are. That's okay. Those are all positive things. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Congressman Johnson, for sharing your insights with us today. It was informative. I hope it was a little bit of fun for you. Certainly was for us. And we are so grateful that you took the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And if you ever get Marjorie Taylor Greene to come on, call me and I can come and surprise her.
Okay.
That would be great.
That'd be
We're
really
working on it. So, Emily, thank you again for sharing the foxhole with me. Always
my
enjoyable. Do you have anything you'd like to say in terms of closing?
I'll add one more to it. Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
You gonna start singing too?
Yeah, right.
Hold on to that feeling. Oh, he was a great, or he is a great artist.
Yes.
Steve, what's his name? Steve.
Journey. Steve Perry?
Steve Perry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
great singer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great singer.
Yeah.
Fantastic voice.
Well, it's like Steve said, it's been a pleasure having you and wonderful to get to hear your insights. And then thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So thanks again to.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I
Congressman.
forgot to say I like country music.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Chris Stapleton,
Yeah.
so all right. Well, I like a little country music too,
Willie.
much to my wife's chagrin. but we can have that conversation another time. So thanks again to Davis Manufacturing for sponsoring this program today. We appreciate them. Of course, we always appreciate the team here at the Scottsdale Podcast Cafe for doing an outstanding job in supporting our efforts. We appreciate them. And for our audience, if you have any ideas about possible guests or future topics, please visit our website and drop us a note at servesomebodypodcast.com, and of course via social media. Also note that our episodes are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. We understand that time is the most valuable resource that any of us have. So we sincerely thank you for spending some of your precious time giving us a listening ear. We will never take that for granted. These are indeed serious times, so until the next time, just remember to think for yourself and don't fall for the show. Goodbye.
You're gonna serve somebody in a booth or on the street. You're gonna serve somebody. Every vote, every voice, every tweet might be the Lord, the dollar, or the folks who can't speak loud. You're gonna serve somebody. So say who you're serving now. They got headlines dressed like